over those decades that you've just mentioned, the world has gone through a lot of different changes. In fact, a colleague who I work with in another business recently found a newspaper clipping of, oh gosh, it must have been the 70s maybe, and there was a picture of my dad's parents' 40th wedding anniversary and all of us pictured in there. But along with that, some of the adverts were for these computers, which, I mean, they're more expensive than they are now, and they probably did diddly squat, so even with bringing everything in on that level, we've had all sorts of recessions, so many different iterations of what the business has done over those years. So yeah, there's been a lot of change, and my sister is running the business now, and brilliantly, but through those phases as well, I think my dad basically navigated it really, really well, and he was learning as he was going as well, but lots to be congratulated for.
And actually, the Leahy passion, I understand, for tea and coffee dates back to the early 1890s.
Yeah, we've got a long history in tea and coffee. Very long history in tea and coffee. My dad was born in India, his father was, and his father, I think, go back to the tea estates and running them and things. So yeah, the actual being qualified to taste tea, which is and blend it, because tea has to be blended to the actual water you drink. I mean, a lot of it's mass produced now for general taste, but when Matco, as it was, first started over here, they used to have different blends for different hotels even. So yeah, my dad and my granddad would be doing that, and the coffee as well. I mean, I'm not the expert, so I'd be out of my depth trying to explain it, but there's so much to it, and their expertise is so deep. I mean, it really is. So yeah, coffee has become such a huge thing recently too. So
I have to ask though, if you are a tea and coffee snob.
Yes, to a degree. Yes, I guess I am. Yep. It's got to be made properly.
Your sister Tracy, as you mentioned, is the managing director of Mannvend. How involved do you get in the business at all?
I'm a director of the business, but I'm not involved in the day-to-day side. As a lawyer, there's only so much you can sort of do. But the business is very entrenched in our family, so there's always discussions about it, even if we're sort of at work or not. But yeah, no, Tracy runs the business very well, and she's got a great team there who work for her. So big hands together for them.
At what point then did you decide that you wanted to be a lawyer?
When I was 10.
Really? Can be that specific?
But it's got nothing to do with LA law or any of that. I have no interest in going into court or fighting arguments and that sort of side of law. For me, I heard that it was a well-paid profession, and I figured it would pay for my horses. And that was why I decided to be a lawyer.
That's terribly sensible.
And actually, do you know what? I really enjoy law. There's so many different ways you can be a lawyer, though. I mean, every aspect of life is covered by some kind of law. My uncle, my dad's cousin, was the in-house lawyer for the Guinness Group, as it was then. And that really interested me, being in-house in a business. I didn't really know what that was about, but that sounded interesting to me, and actually that's the path I've gone down. So all my training, which happened to be in Australia, was in corporate and commercial in law firms, but my niche has been in in-house departments within companies, and setting up in-house legal departments, to be honest.
Well, we'll talk more about that in just a moment, but let's pause for your second piece of music, which is an REM track. Which one have you chosen?
Losing My Religion. This, I guess, is something that was very anthemic when I was in, I suppose, first year at university, and it was just blasting out of every sort of student bit of accommodation in halls and houses and things. Yeah, everybody was singing this. Everybody had the album. So it's kind of reminiscent of a time and of an era. Yeah,